hypnotic interview, regardless of the client, sometimes you'll ask one question, bang. Their eyes closed, they're dribbling on themselves, they're half falling down. We'll look at what to do with that next. Sometimes it will take 10 questions before we get to somewhere that's juicy, as we call it, which is a bad metaphor, but it is what it is. 50 questions, it doesn't matter. Okay. By investigating the question, the problem, their symptom, what we're trying to find out is what's the real problem and what are the lies? What is conscious information and what is unconscious information? So let's make a list of the two. How would I know that a response is conscious? What would it sound like? What would I see? What would I notice from my client? Let's make a list of those.
Be fast, rehearsed.
Rehearsed. There's no thinking. It's like, oh, I can't quit because of this.
But couldn't it actually, even if it's fast, couldn't it be unconscious also though, depending on the person and how it happens?
It could be, but you'll be able to recognize the two.
Because it kind of seems like I've noticed sometimes with really analytical people, it seems like they'll be saying something and then all of a sudden something that doesn't fit will come in, pop in really fast. They'll say it very quickly and then they'll move on to something else, almost like a redirect.
Yeah. We're going to look at that. Yeah, because Jody did that actually. We're going to look at what that is.
Right.
Absolutely. That's why I said, remember when I said all information is conscious and unconscious? So
all information both?
Yeah, I want to get a list of the conscious stuff first so we know what to look for. Then we'll look at the unconscious and we'll tie it all together. So we'll get to that point. I'll show you what that is.
Okay. All right. I think.
Okay.
Okay.
What else would it be? So in most terms, it's going to be fast. There's no thinking involved. It's rehearsed. What else would conscious information not have? That would be important. Emotions. So, Berta, why do you want to quit smoking? Oh, I just do. Is that conscious?
They seem as if they don't care.
Would you say that's conscious? Probably.
Yes.
But if I said to Berta said to me, Scott, why do you want to quit smoking? And I went, unconscious or conscious?
Unconscious.
What am I doing as a client right now?
Thinking.
I'm thinking, I'm looking, I'm searching. Where is that mobile number before you need it? Unconscious. So indirectly, Berta has asked me a question that has forced me to go into trance. Unconscious trance, same thing. I have to go looking for that information. I might spend 5 minutes in there. Would you say that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Good.
Good. So now Berta has done an instant induction on me without doing one. Here's me going, lose 5 minutes of time. I'm drooling. My eyes are starting to blink. She can just sit there and wait. Doesn't matter what the information is. Where did they go to find it? Does that make sense? If you go to one of the demos, what's her name? Was that Natalie, I think? I think it's in number 6 or 5. I'll try and find which one it is. We did a demo breakdown of this. The therapist asked 2 or 3 questions. Client went in, came back out. Client went in, came back out. Client went in, eyes closed, half dribbling on herself, and that was it for about 20 minutes. And she's sitting there doing this. Have no idea what even the root cause was. And we just let her sit in there because whatever's happening in there is way more important than any question I can ask. So if Berta says to me, what's stopping you from getting over your anxiety? Oh, my mother is. She's the reason. Conscious or unconscious?
Conscious.
Conscious. That information I gave to Berta, is that of any relevance to the solution?
No.
I can ignore it. In my head, I go, you're lying to me again. Just ignore it. To go back on Crystal's point, if I, however, said, well, it's my mother, I really don't like her, but I love her, she's the reason for it. And something in the middle, there's a bit of thinking, there was some pausing, I looked away and something interesting popped up that doesn't normally fit in a sentence. That's now the unconscious stuff. So I went from conscious, unconscious, conscious. My job, to not try and make this confusing, is to keep following those little unconscious traces. It might be one word, might be a sigh, might be emotion. We'll look at that in a moment. I'm investigating. I'm trying to collect as many of these moments as possible. Okay. What else would the conscious mind give us that lets us know we can ignore whatever it just said? Any other ideas?
A baseline.
A-
Can you watch it like a baseline?
What do you mean?
Can you just, what I mean, like, if you just listen to the rhythm and the talk, and if anything's that derives, that will give you a clue, like maybe there is
Yeah.
something there.
So conscious mind is it's just straightforward. There's no thinking. There's no beat to it. It's just words. There's nothing involved. There's no think. There's nothing attached to it. It's just an excuse. Unconscious moments, you'll see them, they sort of go up and down. They have a different tone to them. You can hear the tone, which we'll look at next. Okay. Repetition and rehearsed responses. Absolutely. That's the biggest one.
What about just predictability? Like it's just so predictable, so
Yeah.
logical, so solution focused.
All conscious. Absolutely. Anything else we might see, hear, feel, notice? There's not a lot.
I'd say-
It's pretty obvious.
I'd say blasé, maybe just flippant and also dissociated.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, why do you want to lose the weight? Oh, I probably should.
And so resistance as well. And it's just,
Resistance. Yeah.
mm,
Very obvious when you look at it. Okay. Lies can also be conscious as well. Who's got kids? Who likes their kids? Why does everyone put their hand down? Say to your children, have you cleaned your room? And they go, yeah. You think, no, you fucking haven't. Where does that come from? Has everyone felt that before?
Mm.
You know they're lying to. Has anyone walked into a room when you know two people have been arguing? You can feel it.
mm,
What is that? How did you learn how to do that? What is that? That's unconscious. You
mm,
already know how to do this. So when I hear my clients talk to me, I get that feeling like you're just conscious to me. And I can ignore that. But that one little word you said amongst those 100 conscious words, that's piqued my interest. And I'm going to ask you about that.
mm,
And you'll get this with clients, guys. Valerie could be working with me. I say all this conscious stuff and she goes, hang on, you just said this word. And I go, did I? I had no idea because it was unconscious. But she did a brilliant job of picking up on it. And I'll show you how to do this, but that's what we're looking for. So conscious, rehearsed, lies, speed, there's no thinking. It's just a thought. Okay. What about unconscious? What signs, what things are we looking for clients speaking unconscious that would make us want to pay attention?
Five letter.
So there's a lot of pausing. Absolutely.
mhm.
Staring off in space.
Yep.
Tearing up,
A lot of emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they could be,
fluttering.
yep, eye fluttering. They could be good, bad, ugly emotions. Doesn't always have to be positive. Could be negative. What else?
Common one I see is their eyes will go up and either to the
Yeah.
right.
that's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
that's- yeah, and to notice these things, and people say, well,
Oh, no,
Scott, I'm NLP trained. Should I be thinking, okay, they're thinking of a thought, they're looking at a video. I don't care about any of that stuff. Could not care less. As long as they're thinking about it, I'm happy. I don't care if they're seeing an image, hearing something. I could not care. It doesn't matter. They're going to tell me what's going on anyway. Okay.
mm,
What
Hey,
else?
Scott,
Yeah,
could
go.
it be like this is more subtle clue, but I already saw it in this first demo, it's like a connection to the words. Like there's a subtle difference between the words that's coming out and then there's you can, I don't know, it's a feeling. I saw it a couple times in
Yep.
Jody's responses.
And that's what
Connection to
mm,
saying.
Yep. And they're the visual clues we're looking for. So unconscious moments or unconscious information comes in visual and also auditory. We'll talk about those two things.
mm.
So the tone of the voice and the emotion and that.
Tone, emotion, connection,
Head-
speed,
Head drooping
cadence.
down.
Yep. Breathing, taking time
Yawning.
on that information. What else?
I had yawning, big
Yawning?
yawning, like,
Yep.
or big ones, like.
Mm,
Bodily
Signs,
movement.
signs a big one. You have a client say something before they say it, they go, Jody
mm.
did that a lot. That's a big.
did. She did.
Yeah.
When she spoke about her brother, she paused and I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden the words came out. Like,
And that's what I want you to have inside your mind, guys. That, oh, what was that? That's that curiosity. It's not what does it mean? How can I how can I have that? How can I have Jody do more of that? Was it visual? Was it auditory? I don't care. As long as you see it or hear it, I'll tell you what to do with it. Okay. What else?
Yeah, Scott, a physical movement attached to a word, like Jody said something along the lines of, I don't want to fall back into it. And as she said
Yeah.
that, she leaned back.
Yep. And it's just the unconscious mind explaining it. Okay.
Suddenly stopping the word in half,
Yep.
blushing.
How about
Go for it, guys.
micro expressions?
Yes. Micro expression.
Micro expressions that don't fit.
Yep. It's funny when the client doesn't even know they're doing it. That's when it's really unconscious. Okay.
Someone put,
Color.
Yep.
someone put in there metaphors. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, definitely metaphors, but like we talked about before, it's
Climbing out. She was talking
Yep.
about that. And I thought, oh.
let's say, for example, you want to work with clients over Zoom, like I used to do, but without the video camera. I never had the camera on. What about auditory unconscious moments? They're my favorite. What are these about? How do we know it's an auditory unconscious moment?
Close down.
Quiver in the voice.
You hear it in the voice. Yep.
A quiver in the voice is what I said.
Quiver in the voice. Yep.
Long pauses. Big one is Freudian slips.
Yep. Little Freudian slips. They're always good. Long pauses.
Slow down.
Slowing down.
Slow down. Yep.
Laughter.
Remote.
Laughter. Yep.
But
Emotive,
when they're
yeah.
talking and they kind of trail off as they get lost in thought.
Lost in thought. Brilliant. Lost in thought.
Coughing.
Yep. It's-
Big breath. Big
Big
breath
breath.
before the sentence.
It's always a nice thing when the client at the end says, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, you go, beautiful. Okay. The one I want to point out, which I think is the most important, is what we call a clashing reality. Now, people might call this a part, parts integration, but I don't care about parts integration. What I'm looking for is the two concepts that are involved, are they clashing?
Yeah, there was I noticed Jody clashed.
Jody
few
had a big one.
times. Yeah.
I want them to love me, but I hate them. Can everyone hear that concept? Cannot exist.
Paradoxes. Yeah.
Now, what do we do with it? We'll get to that. I don't care. We're not worried about that right now. I'll show you how to break them down, collapse them, parts integrate them. You do whatever you want with them. I just want to recognize them. I want to lose the weight, but I love being 100 kilos because it pushes men away. Clashing. I want to quit smoking, but it's my only connection to my son. Does everyone remember that stop smoking session we did? That's what that was. Now, what do we do with it? I'll show you how to collapse it. But that's just one knot. Most problems are going to have, or all problems are either going to have one or 5,000 of them. You just keep untying to the point where the client's sometimes mentally exhausted. The session's pretty much done. Okay.